how to use the place along path feature in Photoshop with shapes. Create something very similar to this. Now I'm going to be using gradients as well as custom shapes. The key panels you can find via the window menu and layers and paths. And you can see the paths on the right side, layers on the left. And you can find all the paths in the custom shapes panel. Before I do anything else, I'm going to go to a completely fresh document and to the gradient tool. Photoshop comes with a whole heap of gradients, loads and loads of gradients. You can create your own gradients. You can find gradients on the web. You can also modify existing gradients, add additional stops if you want to make it slightly more complicated. So, see there, I've just created additional yellow, blue. I think the gradient before that was actually only just 2 stops. I've just added additional stops. Press OK. But you can use any of the other gradients as well. And you don't have to use gradients. You could use an image for this. You can use type. You can use brush strokes. I'm using the gradient as a linear in this case, and I'm using the blending mode of difference. I'm just applying different origin points, different lengths, and different angles. And then I'm using the rectangular marquee tool. I'm just going to use it just to select a thin strip and then go to Edit menu and define pattern. Click OK. And you can repeat that over and over again. So just create thin strips of selections and define pattern via the Edit menu. Click OK. Maybe make it thicker. Edit and define pattern. Now you don't have to even keep it as is. You can change the gradient. You can apply effects to it as well. So you can go to the filter menu and distort, maybe use wave, use twirl. You can see the design there. Click OK. And now just select a part of that. And you can repeat that over and over again to build up a whole selection of patterns. Now, they're not seamless. They don't need to be seamless for this example. So I'm just creating a very thin strip there. Just make it a fairly interesting, colourful design. So Edit menu and define pattern. Now you don't have to use all these. I'm just building this selection of patterns up so I can use it as potential source material. Select and deselect. Now go to Edit menu and fill, and I'm going to set it back to white. Now I could, of course, just go and create a new document. I'm just on a complete fresh document now. Go to the Custom Shapes tool in the Tools panel and just go up. You've got a whole range of different shapes. Now I'm going to be using flowers for this mainly, but there's many abstract designs. You can create your own shapes. So just select one of them. But there's also, of course, lots and lots of other shapes available via the Legacy section. And you can find that via the Window and Shapes. So you go up there, you go to the right side menu. There's a group there, Legacy Shapes and More. You can bring them back via the Legacy Shapes and More. Just select that. So you can get all the shapes from 2019, etc. Don't use the Shapes panel. Slightly confusing the way it works. So create a new layer. So a layer and new layer. Click OK. So now you've got 2 layers. Nothing's in the layer at all. It's a completely blank layer, and I'm just going to drag that out. I'm using that as a path. So in Left corner, you can see its option is path for that shape. That's the key thing, path. Now, put it in the center so it's not near the edge. So make it fairly small. Then go to Edit menu and Fill. Instead of pattern, just can use pattern there. Make certain the script is on. Sometimes it just doesn't get set on. For some weird reason, once you go back into it, it's not set. So make certain it's set on. Select one of those patterns you defined as well. Okay, and use the place along path in the script. Click OK. With luck, another panel will appear. What you can do then is change the scale, pattern scale. Make it smaller, make it bigger. Up to you. Trial and error, experiment. You can always undo. Just apply it again and again until you're happy with the design you create. So reduce the spacing so it's fairly crunched up. Set the colorize randomness at the bottom to fairly high, as well as brightness. And you can tweak these values to your heart's content. So you can set it back to 0 if you wish, or you can increase it back to 0.9. Click OK. And as I say, you can always undo if you don't like the design you create. And this is going to be created on that new layer. Takes a few seconds to process, depends on the path. And you can see the path in the path panel. Deselect that, just go over to that panel, click on the empty space, deselect it. If you're happy with the design, that's fine. Now if you want to reuse it again, just click on the work path so it's active again and undo. You can always, or just keep it there, perfectly okay. Edit and fill. Click OK. And you can change the pattern at this point, but you can't do it once you're in the next panel. Change the scale again. And spacing. Just keep trying. Find out what you like. You can keep experimenting a couple of times. You get to the point where you actually know roughly what you're going to get. And select one of those designs. Keep trying some of the other patterns. That's why I created quite a few. So you can try them out. Again, you can modify the scale, spacing. Sometimes it's easier just to edit the spacing via the edit field itself. I find those sliders slightly awkward to use because they jump so much. So you can go from 495 to 700 very easily. And it's quite a difference. So now you've got that design there. That looks pretty good as well. Again, deselect. You can keep reworking it over. You can apply it again. You can apply it again, use different scale, use different spacing. So once you're happy with that, what you can then do is go down to Filter menu and Stylize and Oil Paint. Set stylization to fairly high, cleanliness fairly high, click OK. You can also set lighting if you wish as well. Filter and oil paint, just repeat it a few times. Now it's a layer, so you can go to Layer and Layer Style. Now you could have also turned it into a smart object if you wish as well. That's another thing you could have done. Right. Now use the bevel and emboss, drop shadow. Just going to go with those settings. So you've just got a bit of depth to that. Go to the Move tool, hold down the Alt or Option key and drag. That will duplicate it. Or you could use the Layer menu and Duplicate. Just drag them around, resize them if you wish as well. course, you can warp the design. You can use all kinds of transformations as well, which is probably the best reason for smart objects. I didn't use smart objects. You don't have to use smart objects. So you can flatten it all via the layer menu, flatten and filter. And again, use oil paint. Apply it a couple of times. And then edit menu. If you want to do another fill or you want to just adjust it, just go to image menu and adjustments. Click OK. So you've just changed the input sliders to make it a bit brighter. But you don't have to do that stage. You can use other adjustments as well. Maybe to colorize it using the color lookup. So you've got that design now. You can save it to your library, export it, use file menu and save. So it's a fairly quick operation to create very abstract designs. Again, edit menu, fill, use white. You could create a new document. It's another option. Again, go to the custom shape tool. Maybe gradients and create new gradients. Up to you. You can see just very simple to create all kinds of amazing gradients. Again, you can use your selections, rectangular marquee tool. But this time I'm going to do something slightly different. I'm going to use it as a layer because I want to manipulate the design. So I'm going to use that. Edit and copy. And then I'm going to paste it. So now I've just got that thin strip as a pasted layer. I'm going to delete the background. So the background's been removed. Again, what you could do, turn it into a smart object. Perfectly reasonable to do that as well if you want to go layer menu. But what you can also do is layer and transform. Probably again better to use smart objects. I didn't do that, layer menu and convert to smart objects. Would have made more sense. You can then use transform. Don't have to use transforms, but you can use maybe liquefy. Perfectly reasonable, the filter menu and liquefy. I'm just using transform. Just a very basic transform. Result is not particularly amazing. It's just showing an example. Obviously, you can spend more time maybe making a much better transform than that using the warp. And there's many other videos about how to use the transform and warp as well. You can go, like I say, edit and transform and warp. You can also right click and you can use the split warp option, cross wire, so you can go there and just create a few of those. And again, you can find tutorials on the Graphic Extras channel showing you how to use that feature. You can distort that layer in all kinds of ways. But I don't want to spend too long on that, so I just wanted to show you an example that you can do it and then use it in the pattern feature. I'll squeeze that in a bit. Just move the points around. Once you're happy with that, click OK. So you've got your design there. That's quite a nice little design. So what you can do is a layer. So you can go to layer menu and add layer styles. You can go to the styles panel or maybe go to, like I say, layer styles in the layer menu. Yeah, layer and layer style and drop shadow. Just move that around, just position it just under there. Also bevel and emboss. And you don't have to use this style. You can, like I say, go to the style panel. There's a whole load of styles there. Just add a bit of a bevel there. Just tweak the opacity, tweak the distance till you're happy with your design. Depths. Okay. Does help to be in the right section. Sometimes I do that quite often. I'm changing the thing. I'm thinking, oh, I'm changing the bevel. I'm actually changing the drop shadow. Right, edit menu and define pattern. So now it's defined as a pattern. Or just use a selection again. Just go to rectangle marquee tool, go over the whole thing there, and then go to edit and define pattern. Click OK. So now it's defined as a pattern. Deselect that via the select menu. Just going to remove the line there. Now I could apply other effects to it as well. Go to filter and distort and wave, or maybe ripple or twirl. Use wraparound, change the number of generators, change the wavelength. Just create a very abstract design. That's the key thing here. Not so much particularly how to use the wave. You don't want it too extreme, you don't want it but you could, of course, you can create it, make it splatter all across the entire image. So you've got that design. Just showing you that you can use distortions like that to create very unusual. So filter and liquefy is another option as well. If you're not happy with the wave one. So you're into liquefy, and then you can just use, in this case, the twirl. Just move that around. Just distort it in all kinds of ways. That's the key thing here, just showing you the distortion. You can distort it in numerous ways. Press OK. So you've got your design there. Go to the selection again, rectangular marquee tool. Select over the entire design there. And edit and define pattern. Click OK. So you've got that really nicely distorted design, and you could obviously create numerous other distortions of your design. And it doesn't have to be a gradient, as I say. It could be an image, it could be type, it could be many other things. So edit menu and fill. Just set it back to a white document. So it's completely afresh now. Go back to the custom shape tool, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a different one. Not going to use flower this time. I'm going to use one of the spiral shapes. Yeah, select one of those. And they're from the legacy section, so you have to go to, if you want to use those, go to the shapes panel, bring back the legacy options there. And just put it, using again the path option right in the top left. Just drag, make sure it isn't close to the edge, make it fairly in the center. And again, layer menu, new layer, click OK. So you've got a new layer. So you've got your path selected, you've got your layer selected, your new layer. So edit menu, fill. Instead of white, go for pattern again. Remember to do that. Make certain the script is on, select the place along path. And also go and make certain you select the right pattern in the custom pattern. Because I quite often go and click OK and it's using the old pattern. And you can't change it at that point. So there's the first one. That was the one with the bevel. So select that one. So that's all selected. Click OK. because now you go into another panel, hopefully. Yeah, you've got this another panel. And again, change the scaling. What works for one pattern doesn't always work for the next, so you really have to just tweak the scale a bit, change the spacing, change the colour randomness, etc. if you wish, and click OK. And again, it's experiments, so you can always go back and try it, undo it, try it again, try it again. No, I quite like that one, that's quite nice. But you can always apply it again on top of the existing one. You don't have to clear it down, you don't have to undo, you can just apply it on top of the other one. Change the spacing, change the scale, click OK. Maybe a bit too intense. It's very dark. I preferred the other one actually. So undo. So now with that one selected, go to the Move tool, deselect by going to the Pass panel, deselecting, clicking the empty area. Just drag that around. Now hold down the Alt or Option key or use Layer menu and duplicate. And just duplicate it. And just drag it around, just create multiple. And again, it's a layer, so you can always scale it, transform it. You can also turn it via the Layer menu, Smart Objects, and convert to a smart object. Then apply adjustments and filter effects to it. Maybe oil paint itself. So Layer menu and flatten. So now you've got a quite random, unusual, colourful design there with bevels all the way through it. And you can always apply filters, of course, to it. You can go to liquify or stylize and oil paint or fine edges. Again, change the stylization cleanliness to your settings. Click OK. Apply it a couple of times, 3 or 4 times. You can also, if you want, set the lighting on as well. Just go down to that lighting down the bottom. And that creates an interesting three-dimensional effect as well. It's up to you. I'm not going to have that. Click OK. You can repeat 3 or 4 times. Now you've got that design. What you can do with that, of course, you can use it as a layer. You can use it with 3D features. So you can create all kinds of really wonderful 3D designs. You can also use additional filters, such as liquify. So you can distort it or maybe export it to other applications. Affinity Photo comes to mind. Click OK. Now undo that bit. So you can see you can create some very abstract, very intense designs, very simply using this Place Along Path feature. Again, Edit menu, fill and put it back to white. Go back to the Custom Shape tool. And I'm going to use the last pattern now. So I'm going to use a different custom shape now. So there's a whole range of them, so you can use any of those. Again, it's a path. Top left makes sense. Path still. Just do it in the center so it's away from the edge. Don't make it too big. You don't want it going off over the edge. It doesn't matter too much, but you just don't want it to go off the edge. Layer menu and new layer. So you've got 2 layers now. You've got a completely empty layer. Path selected. Edit menu and fill again. And go back to pattern. Again, make certain you select the correct pattern. That's it. Select that one. Select the last one you've created. Script is on. Place along path. And click OK. The panel will appear again. Sometimes it doesn't, so that's why I always say I'm always never sure. But it should appear. And you can change the spacing. And you can change the scale. You can also add other features, the alternate patterns. That's quite a nice feature as well. We'll do a tutorial about that. And scale, yep, there's the design there. You can see what's happened, it's actually gone over the edge. I didn't want that. So undo fill. So edit menu, fill, pattern again, just click OK. And change the scale, reduce it down a bit. Well, sadly, the preview doesn't show you the pattern as in, just shows you a line. So it's not so effective in that respect. Click OK. Takes a bit longer. Yeah, there you are. It's within the boundaries of the document now. So you've got your lovely design there. Deselect the path just by going over to the path panel. Select that layer. Now you can of course use layer menu as before, styles, etc. But you can also just go to filter and stylize, oil paint. But you can also cancel, filter, and use some of the others. Filter and stylize and find edges. Creates a nice effect as well. Or undo. And I'm going to go with emboss. Maybe not everyone's favourite, but I quite like the emboss. So filter, filter menu and stylize and emboss. You've got a fairly colourful design and a fairly high amount and height, etc. You can create some very nice colourful designs using that. And again, you go back to filter menu, stylize and oil paint. Click OK. And again, you've got this lovely now embossed oil paint effect. Nice, beautiful colours there. And again, hold down, go to the move tool, hold down the Alt or Option key and drag. And then just duplicate those. And again, you can scale them, you can rotate them. As mentioned, you could also turn them into smart objects if you wish. You can fill the entire screen with that lovely embossed design. You can scale them, rotate them, warp them, add layer styles to them if you wish. Yeah, you can fill the entire screen with those lovely embossed designs. So layer, menu and flatten image. And there you have it. What you can do then is go to obviously filter menu and oil paint if you wish. So nice smear it in a little bit more. And image menu, adjustments and levels. Change the input sliders, input levels. Just move those closer. And click OK. And there you have it. Yes, another lovely design using gradients as a source and custom shapes as paths, as well as the place along path feature. Now you could use type, you could use images and many other sources as well. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Please subscribe to the Graphic Extras channel. Always adding new tutorials about Photoshop, Illustrator and many, many others. Also, please add a comment or two. It's always appreciated. Also, a dislike or like. Thank you much.